Hi there everyone, Jack here again at the Vinyl Voyage. Now the other day I was watching a number of vinyl community channels and I came across a great video by James Griffiths where he was examining a number of songs that had been completely misinterpreted, where the songwriter had tried to convey one meaning and for whatever reason the general public had got the wrong end of the stick and had misinterpreted the song to mean something entirely different. Now there was a couple of songs that he talked about that was quite familiar that they were widely misinterpreted, and there was a couple of new ones in there as well. But as always with James's videos, there was lots of great detail in there, and it was a really interesting watch. Now I'm really interested in song lyrics and the meaning behind songs, so I thought I would do a response video to that video. I'll leave the link to James's video in the description. Go and have a watch of it, it's really good. But I'll caveat my video to begin with by saying that it certainly won't be as scholarly as James's. It will not be as highbrow as James's, but as always, I will do my best. Okay, so first up then, we've got the Bob Marley song, No Woman, No Cry. The song's not even on this. I don't have No Woman, No Cry on vinyl. I'm just holding this up just because it's Bob Marley. But it's the Bob Marley song, No Woman, No Cry. And the generally accepted meaning behind that song is that if your partner leaves you, or if your wife leaves you, you just got on with life. There's no point in crying about it. There's more fish in the sea. Obviously, Bob Marley was a very laid back Rasta man, so he'd have just been like, yeah, whatever, just move on. I don't think that was the real meaning behind the song, because I think it was actually a command. It was a command to men all over the world that if you've got a nagging wife or a partner who's always in your ear, maybe always down in the dumps and sulking, Bob was saying, no woman, no cry. It was like, get a grip of yourself, pick yourself up and get on with things. So yeah, completely misinterpreted. No woman, no cry. So now you know. Next then, we're going to look at a song from R.E.M's 1988 album, Green. It is Orange Crush, a very joyous, upbeat, summery song that is generally associated with the soft drink of the same name. Now, when R.E.M. came to play Orange Crush on Top of the Pops presenter Simon Parkin introduced it by saying, Orange Crush, perfect for a summer's day. He couldn't have been further from the truth, because Orange Crush was also a chemical agent used by the US military in the Vietnam conflict. And it was used as a defoliant to clear the large amounts of jungle that the Viet Cong used to hide their troop movements or to hide their positions. And it had devastating effect on not only the wildlife in the area. I think it cleared about 4.5 million acres of jungle, but it had a terrible effect on the wildlife in the area and on the Vietnamese population for years to come after the conflict as well. So it caused a massive surge in cancer rates, and also it was very, very, very harmful to pregnant ladies. And the kind of genetic effects of Agent Orange are still being seen today, where a lot of children born in Vietnam were born with really devastating genetic defects. So yeah, it wasn't a joy song, it wasn't a summery song, it was pretty much hell on earth. It was an anti-warfare song. Michael Stipe had been brought up an army brat on a number of stations around the US, and he'd heard stories about Agent Orange from his father and his father's friends, and yeah, it was an anti-military song. Next then, a song from Glasgow-born 60s singer-songwriter Donovan. The song is Mellow Yellow, which doesn't actually appear on this compilation. I'm merely holding it up because there's a picture of Donovan on the front of it. I don't actually have Mellow Yellow on vinyl, I've only got it in CD. But the song Mellow Yellow, there was a myth kind of grew up around that song that it was all to do with smoking banana skins. This idea that if you dried out banana skins and put them in a reefer and smoked them, then you would get the same effects as smoking a joint, which I believe to be complete hogwash. However, Donovan said what the song was actually about was a kind of a bit of a songwriting session he had with John Lennon, or certainly the inspiration came from some time he spent with John Lennon. He said the two of them would get ideas from songs from reading newspapers and magazines, and the two of them had been reading a more adult-orientated magazine, and when they got to the back of this magazine, there was an advert for something called the electrical banana, which in fact was a vibrator. And he said that's where the idea for the song came from, this vibrator called the electrical banana. So the truth is out there. Donovan was a bit of a saucy devil. Next up then, another singer-songwriter, this time from 1971, is Don McLean with his massive selling American Pie. We're going to look at the title track, American Pie, that has been interpreted and reinterpreted by listeners countless times over the years. It's had whole dissertations written about it. It's rich in symbolism and meaning. Generally speaking, the song is about a young Don McLean as a paper boy, as a youth. He opened up on a cold February morning, he opened up his parcel of papers one morning, and there was a headline looking out at him about the Holy Trinity of Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper dying in that plane crash in 1959, how that was the year that the music died. It was the year that Don McLean's musical heroes died, and then over the next 10 years there was that massive cultural shift, especially in music, and that's what the song details, all these big shifts in popular music. It introduces a lot of the key figures, the king and queen. The king's generally meant to be Elvis with his thorny crown, and he sings about the jester in the sidelines in a cast. The jester's accepted to be Bob Dylan, and a cast would be when he had his motorcycle accident at Woodstock. Then there's other lines like 8 Miles High and Falling Fast, which is a clear allusion to the Byrds and their single 8 Miles High, which rocketed up the charts, and then it fell fast because record stations or radio stations, refused to play it. There's mentions of or allusions to Janis Joplin. John Lennon read a book on Marx, and the quartet practiced in the park. That could be the Beatles playing in Shea Stadium, and all these type of things. There's like allusions again to the Rolling Stones and the Altamont disaster. Lots and lots of things that are open for interpretation, and they have been reinterpreted over the years. And Don McLean over the years was very evasive in terms of what the actual meaning behind the song was. He'd been approached lots of times and he said, oh, it's poetry, it's open for interpretation. But he was finally tied down, I think, in the 80s by a magazine, and they said, what does American Pie mean? And his reply was, American Pie means I'll never need to work again. So there we go, that's the meaning of American Pie. Cheers for the rock and roll romanticism, Don, much appreciated. Next up, we've got a song from German singer Nina. The song is 99 Red Balloons, which was released, I think, in the UK, in the English-speaking version in 1984. The German version was released in 83 as 99 Luftballon. Now, this song, very, very upbeat, cheery, happy, new wave pop, but the meaning behind the lyrics is much, much different. I just thought it was about balloons in the sky when I was younger, but it's got a more sinister background than that. So it was written by Carlo Farges, the guitarist for Nina. He had been to a concert in 1982 in West Germany, a Rolling Stones concert, and at the end of the concert, Mick Jagger released hundreds of red balloons into the sky, and he had this idea of what would happen if they went across into East Germany and triggered Soviet early warning systems as these kind of flying UFOs, triggering these systems that caused a chain reaction of events that resulted in this nuclear holocaust. So, yeah, not very cheery stuff. I believe that Nina wasn't happy about the English language version of it because she said it was too blatant. I think it was more thinly veiled in the German language single. But yeah, ultimately a song about nuclear devastation. 99 Red Balloons, or 99 Luftballon. Finally then, from 1981, we have Phil Collins with his album Face Value. The song we're going to look at is the first track, In the Air Tonight. So there's a lot of mystery behind the meaning behind that song. There's a myth that had kind of sprung up. I think it was a bit of an internet myth that the song was written about Phil Collins had become aware of this person who had watched a person drown, and instead of trying to help the person who was drowning in the river, this person had just stood and watched. They'd watched a person drown. When Phil Collins found out about it, he invited the observer, the voyeur, to one of his concerts. And when the person was watching Phil Collins perform at the concert, Phil Collins alerted the police to the fact that this person, this concert goer, had stood and did nothing as a person had been drowning in a river. Now, that's the myth surrounding In the Air Tonight. What Phil Collins says the song is about, he said that it's to do with the heartbreak and the loss that he felt when his first wife ran away with a decorator. The person that was decorating his house, I think it had been an old flame of his first wife, and she left Phil for this decorator. Now, his first wife has now come out since these allegations were made, and it was actually her that filed for divorce, and she said that she filed for divorce because Phil had been very controlling, constantly argumentative, and just a really horrible person to live with. Now, Phil Collins divorced his second wife by fax. He gave her the notification by fax, so think about who you believe. Well then, Filthy Phil, to quote Bob Dylan at his famous Manchester Free Trade Hall concert, "I don't believe you, you're a liar." I'd definitely siding with the wife on that one. I hope you found that illuminating. I've hopefully debunked a few lyrical myths there and provided a little bit of clarity on some of rock and roll's most ambiguous lyrics. Like I said at the start of the video, go and check out James's far more superior video, and if you liked my video, give it a like. If not, don't. Give it a thumbs down. And any comments, I'd love to hear them. If you'd like to subscribe to better videos in the future, then please do. Until the next time, see you later. Bye for now.